Good, how are you?
Good.
What do you think of Saturday?
Saturday, man. Offensive side of the ball, we kind of struggled a little bit in the first half, but, we kept the energy up, kept the intensity up on the sideline, and, that pretty much showed throughout the rest of the scrimmage.
You feel different now? You're an old man. You're 18.
Nah, not too much different, man, but I definitely feel like things are slowing down for me.
What did you learn about sort of handling the pressure of last season when it came to teams focusing on you and sort of rising up from maybe being unexpected to take on that role? But
I mean, just taking the role of, being a decoy sometimes and, just helping out the offense the best way I can, to win games. If I got to go clear it out, for somebody else to get open, or if I got to go, get somebody else open, that's my job. And, as a receiver, we not selfish like that. So try to get people open.
Nick, what excites you about this receiver group as a whole when you look at it?
Man, it's real explosive. Like, we got guys that can move around, X, H, Z. We can put anybody anywhere in our receiver room, man. We just got so much versatility. It's insane.
You feel like you guys can be the type of unit that's like week in, week out can be a problem for defenses?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, because we can throw in a couple combos, different type of lineups, and I'm excited for this year.
When did you get the playbook before you got here, and how much time did you spend going into last year with it, and how much more time did you spend this?
So I would say, my freshman year, just being a freshman, I was in the playbook as much as I can. And then we had a few tweaks, this year, changed a little bit of stuff up. So, I'm in it just like last year. I got to study, just knowing different positions and their jobs and duties, and just trying to figure out, how can I, maximize, my potential on the offense.
What's more important for a receiver, knowing all the trees and everything that come with that playbook, or the physical side of it?
I would say a little bit of both, but most definitely you want to. It's really just the coverages. You want to, you probably run the same play against a few different coverages. So, you'll probably have like a dig route, and you got to run outside the corner, cover two. You got different coverages and different ways to run routes. So it's really just perfecting routes. Running them off different coverages, and just getting looks for that.
How's Aiden different this year?
He stepped up, man, big time. He's leading the offense even more than he did last year, a little more vocal. The energy is still felt, and you can feel that he means business, and he's been showing that all camp.
Do you see a new maturity?
Yeah, most definitely. It's still how he's here and there, but he keeps it pretty simple.
Seems like Alessio's built a lot of trust from everything we've heard. What are you noticing from him?
Man, last year, just watching him practice and see how much he wanted it, coming out this fall camp, I think he really, put himself out there. I've seen a bit of that last year, but this year he's definitely showing it.
You had a chance to be a lot of places right now. Why are you here?
Man, it's home. I could have been anywhere else, but I don't think it would have planned out like this. I was just having a conversation with a few other guys getting recruited by, a few other schools, and I may be overlooked or underrated, but, I think that was God giving me the, the signal to come home, and, I'm grateful for that.
What's the emotion to do that, to pick the place you want to be at and feel like it's clicked?
I mean, it's a lot, I got so much support here, so much family. My teammates, we're just getting closer and closer day out, and it's a lot of emotion behind that. It just makes you take a step back and look at things differently, and just be happy to be here and be blessed.
What have you seen with Braylon, and you being in his shoes a year ago? Have you the kind of guy in him?
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Braylon, he's a dog, a young dog, and he has a few mistakes here and there, but I'm there to back him up to make sure he can maximize his potential. Knowing the playbook, knowing how to run routes against different coverages, and he's picking up pretty fast. So pretty proud of that guy right now.
I know you said there are times you'll be a decoy and you're okay with that. How much do you dream of being the centerpiece of this offense and maybe 1,000-yard season?
Man, it's a dream every night. I dream about the season, the first game. That's been on my mind all year, and this moment is actually coming pretty soon. So, my thing is, just do whatever I can do to make the team better. And 1,000 yards, we're definitely try to get that this season.
What do you tell the new guys about Spartan football?
It's a dogfight. It's a dogfight. Recently we just talked about what a Spartan is, and the more committed we are, the more connected we are, and a Spartan's true power comes from the man next to him. So we've been preaching on that, and I think the guys are finally starting to click, and you know, once we start doing that, you see the energy's different. You know, we're starting to execute more, and things are starting to click for us.
When Rodney was asked about who's the best blocker in the wide receiver room he said it was you, and it's an energy thing. Do you take pride in that?
I definitely do. You know, not just catching the ball helps the team out. You know, we got a lot of run game stuff, and you know that one block can be a big difference to the run game. You know, just going to get the safety or you know taking the corner out to play, and you know we preach on that. We are a run-heavy football team, and you know I love to do nothing else but help the team out as much as I can.
I know you committed a year and a half ago, but when did you first feel like a Spartan? Was there a turning point? Was there a time?
2021 against the school down the road, you know, that kind of made my decision there, you know. Just being here at that game, seeing Kenneth go for 5 and just seeing the energy, Chuck interception at the end, you know, and then I just realized how lit the city was and, you know, how uplifting it was after the game. And I was like, man, this is the place I can be. And, you know, I just coming here, you know, I seen a little bit of drought as, you know, that 2021 team started to disperse. And I wanted to come back to East Lansing and be that uplifting again.
Is that day kind of when you made your decision?
Yes, most definitely.
How do you get it back to that energy level, not inside the program, but outside the program?
I mean, it got to be some type of trust. You know, they trusting us to do our job inside of here. You know, they're supporting us on the outside. So, you know, just keep that in the back of our heads, you know, and that, you know, got a lot of people depending on us to be great this year. So, you know, we just doing everything we can to be great inside here so we can, you know, show it on the field.
Is that hard to sort of, I guess, for that to materialize, like for you to realize that? Because it seemed like at times like Aiden last year would maybe be frustrated with some of the outside noise and things like that. Like when does that sort of set in for you guys that it's like, you just got to do what you can do?
I mean, I would really say at practice, you know, we go against the defense and sometimes it's looking pretty rough. But we know at the end of the day, you know, if we can beat something this hard, when we get in the game, it should be easier. So, you know, we keep that in the back of our heads every day. You know, we got defense scripted against us, you know, and we got our back against the walls. And if we can fight out of that, you know, we can fight out of anything. And I'm pretty sure that's our mindset throughout the whole season.
Anything Omari's taught you, Nick, that you kind of added to your
Could
game?
you say that again?
Omari, has he taught you anything? He's a veteran guy. I think I caught him savvy or something here earlier. Is there anything that he's
just,
shown you,
you know,
that you kind of added to your game?
how to be a dog. You know, I'm a little bit on the quieter side and, you know, not talking much, but, you know, he gets me chippy a little bit, gets me riled up, and, you know, I talk a little bit of mess to the defensive guys. So I would say that part of it.
You want to return punts?
Yeah. You know, I thought about it. You know, I got back there a little bit. You know,
Courtney did.
I'm catching some, so, you know, I'm looking forward to it.
When you saw that Biletnikoff watch list, did you laugh? Did you shake your head, or did you say, yeah, I'll show you?
A little bit of all three. Like, you know, my teammates are on there. You know, I'm proud of them and happy for them. You know, if they on the Biletnikoff award, that probably takes some pressure off of me during the season. You know, probably other teams start eyeing those guys a little bit more. But, you know, I'm definitely grateful to, you know, even be anywhere near it. So.
Are you the best player ever to have 2 teammates on that list?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
What do you guys talk about? Do you guys talk about what a run game could do for you guys in the pass game? You know, that was an area last year that we've heard a lot about trying to get improved.
Yeah.
Whatever you've seen in scrimmage, is that something that you guys as receivers look at and be like, man, if we could get a play action or whatever going?
You know, this last scrimmage that just passed, man, we threw the ball quiet, and then when we came to run game, and the running backs would just run their tails off. And, you know, Mekhi Frazier and Brandon Tellis was the 1-2 punch during the scrimmage. So, you know, just knowing that I came into class with those guys and see how much they grinded to actually be at that position and doing what they're doing, man, it's a blessing to see. And I think those guys are going to set it off for us.
Bit of a scenario, but let's say there's someone who's never watched a college football game in their life, moved to the U.S. or something like that. They're going to watch a football team. They're going to pick a fandom. Why should they pick Michigan State?
Because we're the underdogs, you know. You always want to see the underdogs win. So I would say that.
Are there any guys in particular you love lining up against?
Defense? Defensively, I love lining up against Josh Eaton, AB, and Andrew Brinson. We got Najee Burt. Who else? And then the young guy, Aiden West. He's pretty nice, man. He's gonna be real good.
If you're going to be teaching the young receivers, what could your mom teach the other parents?
Adversity. I think she could teach them adversity. You know, some of the young guys may get to college, may not get the playing time that they want, or, you know, may not see fit. But, you know, as long as you keep your head down, I would say a scenario for me, you know, first game of the season last year, didn't touch the field too much, and then, you know, the next game broke some records. So, you know, I would say adversity.
Nick, who's the guy that gives you the most trouble of those DBs?
The guy that gives me the most trouble. Let's see. Oh wait, yeah, I left somebody out. Malcolm Bell. I would say Malcolm Bell gives me the most trouble, actually. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
See you.
Thanks, Nick.